What's up, LEGO builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. One of the most important elements of a LEGO Star Wars MOC is the minifigs. They bring the MOC to life and can take a build from a mere piece of art to a moment frozen in time and help us really tell the stories we want. And today I'm going over every minifig that's going to be in my upcoming massive battle of Mygeeto Moc. This one's got a pretty unique lineup, and I'm even using certain types of minifigs that I've never used before in a large scale MOC. So if you're ready to see all kinds of cool stuff from horned aliens to this, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and let's get started. All right, let's take a look at the droid side of things first. I got everything set up on the main bridge. I put the Galactic Marines down on the smaller bridge because the droids have a lot more minifigs, vehicles, all that kind of good stuff. So starting out with the minifigs, I've got over 150 Separatist minifigures, over 100 regular B1 battle droids, 20 super battle droids, and then an odd assortment of other stuff. Starting out with the main battle droids, nothing special here, just your classic B1 clanker. And then next to those, we've got my super battle droids. I would have liked to have more of these, but I haven't collected a lot of that new clone trooper and droid battle pack. There is a little bit of variation here because in the back, I've got the super battle droids with the rocket launcher arms. Gonna have 4 of those causing chaos on the battlefield. Next to them, we have some more B1 battle droids, but these guys are different because these are completely custom. So in the very back, we have Clone Army Customs brand new droid. These guys are incredible. I've used them in a few MOCs so far. They have posable legs and arms, which is a first ever, and I did not realize how much of a difference having a droid that could walk would make in a MOC. These guys look so good, and honestly, I want to start growing my collection of these and slowly phase out the Lego B1s because they just make the MOCs look so much better, having the minifigs being able to walk around. And then up in front of them, we just got a random assortment of droids. I want to have some security droids because, you know, I'm going to have some Separatist leaders. They got to have their security detail. I might have a couple of the Separatist AATs, so I put some of those drivers. And then we'll have a pilot for the ship you guys will see, and then of course the droid commander. And then on the side, we kind of have the heavy droid units, I guess you could call them, the custom droidicas. These were designed by my friend Grinding Bricks. He did an absolutely incredible job on these. Really happy to have them in the MOC. Honestly, I'd love to have more, and I definitely want to build some for future MOCs. Then in the back, we've got some random aliens and other minifigs, but I'll touch on those in a second because here in the front, we have the crown jewel of my Separatist army, the Separatist leaders. Now, before you rush to the comments letting me know that none of these guys were actually on Mygeeto, I am aware. However, I do want to put as many cool minifigs in the MOC as I can, and I want to have some kind of Separatist leadership here, right? This is a Separatist homeworld, and so I want to make sure to represent them a little bit better than just droids. So that's why I've got Masamita here to the very left. In the middle, we've got Newt Gunray, and then of course our greedy boy, Wat Tambor. The reason I'm having Masamita in the MOC is just because he's a really cool minifig and I just bought him and I want to use him in the build. So I'm gonna have him here running errands for Sidious, communicating his plans to Newt Gunray. Here are all of the other random minifigs that are gonna be included in the MOC. Because Mygeeto is just war ravaged and in the process of getting destroyed, I didn't want to have too many minifigs because I figured most people would have fled by now, but I'm gonna have Pencil Man in there to add some color. I've got a random Twi'lek, a couple of these shady looking dudes, you know, running around just causing chaos. And then here in the back, I've got a special unit of bunny clone troopers just for fun. And then I've got a couple of, I think these guys are Marvel agents, or they're in the Marvel world. I'm gonna have them as bounty hunters. And then up here in front, we've got the most useful minifigs. These are some regular Cato Neimoidian soldiers. They're gonna be manning the anti-aircraft guns because the droid legs are too long to fit in them. Plus, I figured, you know, Neimoidians and droids on the same team, so it makes sense to see them among the ranks. So that's it for minifigs. Moving on to the vehicles, we've got a couple of the new Lego Tri-Droid. I think this is one of the best builds to come in a Lego Battle Pack. It scales with minifigures perfectly. It's got an awesome amount of detail, and they just look so good. I'm really happy that Clone Trooper Battle Pack came out in time for the finale because these things are going to elevate the MOC quite a bit. Next to them, we've got the big boy Tri-Droid, this massive custom Tri-Droid I built. I'm really happy with how this turned out. The Tri-Droid is not my favorite Separatist vehicle. I think it's kind of goofy looking, so to end up having a vehicle that actually looks cool and is impressive makes me really happy because I didn't want some goofy 3-legged thing wandering around my battlefield. So to have this very scary, impressive walker leading the droid defenses is gonna look pretty sweet. And then behind them in the back, we've got a couple more vehicles. We've got the J1 proton cannon providing heavy artillery support from the droid base that'll be back there on the road. And then we've got your classic Separatist shuttle. This is gonna be for a couple of the Separatist leaders to try and make a desperate escape off the planet. So that's it for the Separatist side of things. I definitely loaded them up pretty heavy because, like I said, Separatist homeworld, they've got home court advantage, and I wanted to represent that in the build. If I have space right here, I'm gonna have a couple of AATs waiting as a backup to enter the battle to reinforce the front. Moving on to the significantly smaller but still fearsome Republic side of things, I've got just over 50 minifigs, so about less than half the size of the Separatist forces. But on this side, I've got almost 40 Galactic Marines. I think counting the officers, it's like 41, 42. So I've got just under 40 of the red helmeted Marines, and I'm really happy with how these guys turned out. I hand decaled every single one, which was a pain. Those of you guys who have followed the building series know how much work goes into these guys, but I think each minifig cost around $10 to make. So even with all the hassle, it was still cheaper than going any custom route. And honestly, I feel like these are the best looking Galactic Marines out there. So really proud of how they look, and I'm excited to use these again in future builds. Up in front leading the charge, we've got Jedi Master Ki-Adi-Mundi and Commander Bacara. He's the clone commander assigned to Mundi. Now, if you look over here to the side, you'll see two more clones identical to Commander Bacara. And my friend Nolark pointed out that there are multiple officers in the Battle of Mygeeto with the same armor as Bacara. So I decided to add a couple more just unnamed ranked clones to help lead the battle. I really like how these guys turned out. So the bodies are just regular P2 grunts decaled by me, and then the helmets and cloths I bought from Clone Army Custom. So these guys were pretty cheap to put together, and I think they're going to look great on the battlefield. And it just makes sense. You're going to want to have as many officers and ranked clones leading the different areas of the battle as possible. I do have one guy without a helmet, so he's gonna be rocking a nice head of hair. Another thing I did to try and add some variation to the clone troopers was build a couple different classes. So you can see right here, I've got a couple flame troopers with backpacks on. They're gonna be wielding flamethrowers, just torching the droids in bridge. I know it might not be the most practical weapon, but honestly, with how cool they look, how could you not include a couple of these guys in the battle? And then here in the back, you can see I've got about 5 or so Marines missing their arms. I did this on purpose. I feel like you're kind of limited with posability when the arms are fixed into the socket. So I left a couple without so that I could have them doing different poses on the battle. Some people pointing in different directions, holding their rifles different, just to add a little bit of variation and add some more realism to the build. I just use a little bit of molding putty to position the arms how I like, and I'm able to create some pretty cool looking poses. So that's it for the Galactic Marine side of things. Over here, we've got the rest of the clone troopers. Because Mygeeto has such a harsh, cold climate, only Galactic Marines were deployed because their unique helmets and gear allowed them to operate in extreme climates. So I'm not able to supplement the ranks with regular grunts like I normally do. So these were the only guys I could justify. We've got, of course, Delta Squad. They're going to be behind enemy lines in the city, just causing chaos and doing their thing. Then, of course, you got to have the pilots for the gunships. And then up here, I've got a couple of gunners, and I'll show you what they're going to be doing in just a second. But that basically wraps it up for the minifigs. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Galactic Marine, and if there are any other different classes or types of clones you would have added to this. So what the clone troopers lack in infantry, they definitely make up for in weaponry and armor. I've got a plethora of vehicles and ships to go through. First, we've got your classic Republic fighter tank. This is just to add some more detail, add some more stuff to the build. I'm not sure where exactly it's going to go. It is slightly modified. I put these extra thick guns on them just because I didn't like the little twig guns Lego built into theirs. And then I also built up around the hatch so there weren't any gaps and just made this thing nice and airtight. The main attraction though, going up against my custom tri-droid, is this custom UT-AT I built. This thing was a beast. I actually dedicated an entire series towards building this. So if you want to check out that series and see how this whole thing came together and some of the other vehicles that I used as inspiration, I'll put a link up to that series in the top of the video. But really happy with how it looks. It can hold a minifigure. The door opens. There's all kinds of cool play features. The back actually comes off, and there's room for minifigs and seats in there. If you want to see that, once again, I definitely check out the series so you can see all the different play functions and features built that go into that. Next, we have a really cool custom Star Wars build designed by Parsival on YouTube. I definitely go check him out. He's got some awesome builds. This thing is not a canon Star Wars walker to my knowledge. It might be in Legends, but I'm pretty sure he just made it up completely. But it's just such a cool blend of Star Wars and World War II, which you guys know I love when we get a mashup of those two things. It's got a turret that can rotate 360 degrees.
It's got room for 3 minifigs. There's even a little spot that holds shells for the cannon.
The gunners I showed earlier are going to crew the walker. I know it's open top and they don't have suits, but let's just say this one had some kind of heating technology in the cockpit area keeping them warm.
So last but not least, we've got a couple of custom gunships designed by M5 Builds. I've got the Wolfpack variant and then the regular Republic one. I did modify the Republic one. You can see it's got longer wings and the missile tubes on the front are a little bit longer as well. They're not going to be taking a major part in the battle because the city is well defended with anti-aircraft guns, so I want to make sure to keep the gunships as far away from those as possible so they don't get shredded. They are going to be carrying my YouTube members, so if you want to have a minifigure in the Moc, become a YouTube member now. The join button is right next to the subscribe button and my channel name. Not only will you have a minifig representing you in the Moc, but you'll get early access to the finale, cinematic showcase, and all that good stuff. But that does it for the Republic side of things. I'm gonna have the UT-AT right here on the main bridge squaring off against the Tri-Droid, and then I'm gonna have about 20 Galactic Marines spread out around and in front of the tank. And then down here on the secondary bridge, I'm thinking about having the either Walker on the back or the Republic fighter tank, and then we'll have the other 20 Galactic Marines pushing up into this secret droid base.
Coming in at just under 200 minifigs, this is the smallest lineup I've had in a few years, but this is the smallest Moc I've built since 2020, so it makes sense. My biggest concern was getting enough Galactic Marines decaled, and I feel like I have enough to tell the stories that I want. Normally this video comes out a week or two before the finale, but I got it out a little earlier this time since I still have about 2 more updates before Mygeeto is finished. But I hope this showcase gets you even more excited for the finale coming out in the beginning of June. That wraps up everything for this video. Don't forget to let me know what you thought about both armies down below in the comments, and I will catch you next time. But until then, happy building.